Hi everyone. So here I'm going to just run through some examples. I've been getting some really excellent questions, especially about number 1 and number 3 and the use of square roots in these problems. So while I'm not going to run through these specific equations because I do want you to try to figure out some of these errors on your own, I will show you some examples using different numbers so you can see what I mean and how these are being used by your peers. So in number 1 right here, we see 4 to the power of the square root of 4. I know that can be a little bit confusing, but I feel like most of you have seen exponents, so try to not get super overwhelmed by the fact that this exponent is a power, and just like take a deep breath and be like, well, what do I know? Something that you know is what exponents are. So if this was, say, 8 to the power of 2, you know that what that means is 8 times 8. Now, I know some of you are like trying to remember some of your work with square roots, but let's say we said the square root, we just use a different problem. If I said, what is the square root of 25? Now we could run through our prime factorization of 25, and we would be looking for where the two factors that make 25 are the same number, which is 5, right? 25 equals 5 times 5. And this square root is just undoing a square. So this is the same thing as saying it is just 5. Because 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So this square root undoes a square. They are opposites. So let's go back to that example number 1. Let me erase some of this. Okay. Let's pretend that we're looking at 5 to the power of the square root of 4. So let's start with thinking about, what does this mean? What is the square root of 4? Well, we know that the square root of 4, when we do some prime factorization, we know that 4 is 2 times 2. So we know that this is just going to equal 2, because 2 squared equals 4. So the square root of 4 equals 2, because this is the opposite of this. They undo each other. So if we're looking at a problem that says 5 to the power of the square root of 4, we're looking at a problem that is actually just saying, whoa, hey, what's going on here? Hold on. Okay, here we go. This is the same as saying 5 squared, which is 25. So don't let the fact that that exponent right there is a square root freak you out. You know what the square root of 4 is. It's 2. Okay, hopefully that clears up what's going on over there. Let me erase this and we'll move down to this third problem. Okay, so on this third problem, we again are seeing some really creative uses of the square root. This is saying we're taking the square root of the square root of 4. Again, that looks really, really overwhelming, but if you just take a deep breath and be like, okay, where can I start with this? What do I know? We can start with undoing that internal square root. I'm going to show you an example again using a different number so that you can figure this one out on your own. But let's use that same 5 since we were working with 5s before. Yes, I want that one. Stop asking me. Okay. So if this instead said the square root of 25, I'm going to start with my prime factorization on this inside one. Imagine there's parentheses there. I mean, there are in the actual problem. So order of operations starts with anything inside of parentheses. If you're following PEMDAS, that P stands for parentheses. If you're looking at that GEMS or the levels like Myers and Kennedy taught it, then that is your groups. Okay, so let's start with what's inside this parenthesis. We did our prime factorization, and we know that 25, let me go back to black, 25 is 5 times 5, or 5 squared. So, since square roots undo square exponents, we can rewrite this as the square root of 5. Now things get tricky here, as they will in this problem. So spoiler alert, the error that was made in this problem had to do with this step. We've undone this internal square root. We've found it's just as a number. Now we have to deal with this outside square root, and that's where your error was made. So explore it with these numbers, remembering that the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. All right, hopefully that adds some clarity and doesn't further muddle your brain. If you do still have questions, please feel free to continue to email me, and I will continue to try to help you figure that out. Thank you so much. Bye.